Manu, please unmute others. No, please unmute others. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, dear audience, eminent speakers. I welcome you all for this wonderful program today. So, I am Neeraj Arora, Senior Director at ASSOCHAM, and on behalf of ASSOCHAM GEM Council, I would like to welcome you all for this wonderful webinar on landscape illumination, celebration of Nature's Night. So friends, this webinar is again on landscape illumination. We got wonderful response for our last lighting webinar, and that webinar was attended by more than 2,000 attendees. Today also we have got more than 2,000 registrations for the webinar, and 800 plus attendees are already there, those who are attending the webinar. And today we are blessed that we have with us our chief guest, Sri Vineet Kumar Jaiswal ji, who is the Director General of CPWD, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Government of India. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of ASSOCHAM GEM Council, sir, for this program, that you spared your valuable time for the... Namaskar, sir. We have with us Mr. Shakti Likha from Bajaj Electricals, Mr. Pankaj Dharkar, Founder Chairman, ASSOCHAM GEM Council for Green and Eco-Friendly Movement, Mr. Vinu Pasricha ji, Director AV Graphics, Mr. Bhavesh Doshi, KNX Tutor, Ms. Sudeshna Mukhopadhyay, Chief Designing Officer, Bahan Illumination Private Limited, Mr. Abhijit Saluke, Principal Lighting Artist, Mr. Sharad Mahindra, Chief Executive Officer, Alnova Lighting. So, on behalf of ASSOCHAM GEM Council, sir, I welcome all the eminent speakers for this wonderful webinar. Now, I would like to introduce Mr. Shakti Likha, who is the Senior General Manager and Head Marketing Illumination, Bajaj Electricals. Mr. Shakti Likha has over 2 decades of leadership experience in starting and growing the operations with various global Fortune 500 European and US companies in India and across. So, Shakti Likha ji, now you are the moderator for the session, and I would request you all, I would request you to please take the program forward. Welcome, Shakti ji. Over to you.
Thank you for this introduction, and let me once again welcome Vineet Kumar Jaiswal ji, who is our Director General CPWD. He joined CPWD in 1983 and has worked on various projects which are of national importance. And to name one which is specifically very critical while we talk about sustainability is Paryavaran Bhavan, which is one of the net zero buildings which CPWD has delivered. So they are part and parcel of our life. You all know CPWD is experience, and the age is much more than whatever you count for all our ages. It's 160 years plus old institution. It started way back in British period of time, and we are proud to have such a pioneer institution director general with us, who is an IITian by his background as a civil engineer. I welcome sir, and then I would request sir to start with his opening remarks, this very panel discussion. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed my privilege and honor to participate in this webinar on landscape illumination, celebration of nature's light. This is being organized by Associated Chambers of Commerce and Industry. I take this opportunity to convey my warm greetings and best wishes to ASSOCHAM, which is the fountainhead of knowledge for Indian industry. I'm happy to note that ASSOCHAM has emerged as a forceful, proactive, forward-looking institution to meet the aspirations of corporate India in the new world of present-day business, new environment. The efforts of ASSOCHAM on green and eco-friendly movement are indeed laudable. The beauty of landscape lies in its vast expanse of greenery, water bodies, various flowers of various hues and colors, and it's so mesmerizing that it cannot be compared with anything made by men, made by us. So the nature has provided us stars, moon, so on to light up the landscape during night. Nevertheless, artificial landscape illumination is very much essential, considering the ever-growing urbanization and recreational needs. Therefore, the topic chosen for the webinar is very apt. The outdoor and public landscapes illumination plays a very important role in our lives to add beauty, nighttime aesthetics, accessibility, security, recreation and rejuvenation, etc. Aesthetic qualities of the landscape increase with the help of light fixtures. Light fixtures arranged in a creative manner are helpful in creating dramatic effects, which in turn shows the beauty of the place and accentuate the landscape. Though horticultural landscaping produces a picturesque and naturalistic effects during the day, however, illumination of the landscape is also equally important to appreciate its vivacity during nighttime. Landscape illumination is very important and should be designed with due care for preventing any harm to ecosystem. Energy efficiency and other aspects should be given due consideration. The modern technologies play a very important or vital role in this field and should be employed as far as possible. Now, the sustainability aspect of it, the sustainability approach for illumination has been envisaged in NBC 2016, which states that functioning of the ecosystem should not be disrupted by locating lighting very adjacent to the species habitat. Reasonable use of outdoor lighting in harmony with dark skies preserves the ambience of night. Minimum light should be emitted by a light fixture as per the requirement of safety and comfort. We are required to be very particular in selecting appropriate lighting techniques so as to give the desired effects. I would like to mention few commonly adopted landscape lighting techniques such as accent lighting, grazing, shadowing, pool and fountain lighting, down lighting, cross lighting, spread or diffuse lighting, and moon lighting. These are various other varieties also. CPWD in this field has done, I think, considerable and good job also. We maintain central government assets, including green spaces, and we have extensively used landscape illumination in our prominent buildings and parks. In the recent past, very recently or last year only, we have installed dynamic facade lighting in the heritage buildings constructed and maintained by us, such as President House, North Block, South Block, Parliament House, and India Gate located in Central Vista, symbolizing the largest democracy of the world, which we are. CPWD had taken up the task of improving the aesthetic appearance of these buildings by providing environment-friendly, energy-saving, low life cycle cost, and modern and versatile state-of-the-art technology dynamic facade lighting. I hope many of you have seen this India Gate and Central Secretariat lighting illumination you have seen. The mesmerizing beauty of these buildings comes to life when they are lighted during night. This unique lighting system has an astonishing capability of millions of color combination and an inherent capability and versatility for choosing different color themes or schemes for display on special occasions. The system is capable of providing volume lighting as well as focus lighting to highlight architectural features of the buildings. The light fittings have external lenses to facilitate change of beam angles as per site requirement. We have also installed dynamic facade lighting at the Ghats and heritage and other monument buildings in Varanasi, Amritsar, Mathura, and also in Vivekanand Bridge at Kolkata, which attained global recognition. Since ASSOCHAM is actively working for green and eco-friendly movement, I would like to briefly touch upon the importance of green and sustainable development. We all know that depleting greenery, increase of pollution, climate change, and global warming have become the topical issues as they have posed threat to the environment and ecological sustainability. We in CPWD we are a premier engineering organization. I think I should not say it. You all know it very well. Yeah. We have been in the creation of sustainable built environment and has taken a number of green initiatives such as green and clean, technologies, use of green and clean technology, solar rooftop PV systems, energy efficient buildings and other fittings also, wastewater recycling, rainwater harvesting system, increasing tree cover and greenery by massive plantation drives, and many more. We have also for Indira Paryavaran Bhavan, we have done geothermal technique used for reducing our load on electricity. We being the principal technical advisor to the Government of India are committed to disseminate knowledge of various sustainable development initiatives for the entire construction fraternity. With this objective, we have been organizing various seminars and conferences and also publishing documents for the benefit of construction fraternity. I'm sure that this webinar will prove useful, shall prove to be very enriching and useful for the participants. I wish the event a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your blessing, sir. And starting off our session with this, I would request now Mr. Venu Pasreja, who is the director of AV Graphics Private Limited. He is also an IITian and a civil engineer by background, but his like science and art combination together. So he's a guy whom I call it, who does audio and visual effects, both through lighting and audio. And so let him talk about this subject. And he has done many marvelous jobs across India. And over to Venu Pasreja ji to take on and share your insights on this upcoming market and the subject on this.
Thank you, Mr. Lika. As Mr. Lika pointed it correctly, I bring the aspect of audio to whatever I do, because that's while I'm an engineer by training, there's a very strong background of photography that came in as part of my genes. And so it's combined everything, and I'm essentially an AV guy, an audio visual technology person. So I look at everything from the aspect of oral as well as what you see visually, and it makes it very interesting. So my forte in this particular area that we are right now talking about is actually doing sonne lumières or sound and light shows. And without any further ado, I will show you some images and stuff. I'll take over to a presentation. Right. So sonne lumière, as I explained, I've been working in this area for around 22 years now, and worked on almost 24 such shows that have been installed across the country. So here are some images of shows that I've worked on, and that gives you some sort of an idea. This is the Khajuraho temples, which was done way back in 1999. There are shows like the Chittorgarh Fort, which I've been part of the team. And as you can see, as part of these scenarios, we cover everything, not just the monument itself, the structure, but also all the verdant greenery that surrounds it in order to be able to tell the story. So essentially, this particular medium is a storytelling medium. And what you're trying to do through the storytelling medium is use every device that you can possibly do to add layers to your story, to be able to tell in bits and pieces how a particular event occurred. This is the Somnath Temple, where there is a combination of both projection mapping and illumination on the temple. The Udaipur City Palace sonne lumière, which uses a lot of the arches and the pillars that are across. The Warangal Fort sonne lumière, which is, according to me, just basically a pillar show. There's so many pillars over there, so we just illuminated a lot of pillars and greenery around to tell the story. It also uses a laser. There's the cellular jail, sonne lumière, where other than the jail, again, of course, there's a lot of lighting of the areas. And this is all controlled lighting, programmed lighting. I'll give you a small clip at the end of this to give you an example of how programming is used as part of the storytelling device. Audio and programming is used. So this is also part of the cellular jails. It's an old 100-year-old people tree, which is a narrator. He basically tells the story from his perspective of having seen all the prisoners come into that particular jail and witnessed, because he's such an old tree. So lit very beautifully, and plus you've got to create not just one look, but we have to create several different views and looks about it. This is the University of Delhi, the Regal Lodge here in Delhi itself, the sonne lumière that was done. This is not a permanent show, it's a temporary show, but again, a beautiful building to light up, along with all the trees, etc. And as I said, part of the storytelling is also to use all the verdant greenery around as well as the trees. And what we do is we use the trunk separately, the backlight separately, and the forelight separately. So you break it up into various elements that you can play around with. So here, if I can ask Neeraj to please play the video, which is earmarked JWM SEL teaser. People will get a view of what this is all about.
Yes.
मेजर साहब, घायल होने के बाद भी एक का तेजी से बंकर्स को उड़ाता हुआ आगे बढ़ता जा रहा है।
हम नॉर्दर्न एंड पे पहुंचने ही वाले हैं।
एक का सामने वाली इमारत की ऊपरी मंजिल से गोली चल रही है। यहां से हमला करना मुश्किल है।
एक ही रास्ता है, पीछे से दीवार चढ़नी होगी। अब तुम मुझे कवर दो।
पागल हो गया क्या? ऐसी हालत में दीवार चढ़ना मुश्किल है।
जंगल में पेड़ों पे खूब चढ़ा हूं। अरे ये दीवार क्या है?
लांस नायक अल्बर्ट एक्का गंगा सागर युद्ध में अपनी कंपनी की रक्षा करते हुए अमर शहादत को प्राप्त हुए।
पागल हो गया क्या? ऐसी हालत में दीवार चढ़ना मुश्किल है।
जंगल में पेड़ों पे खूब चढ़ा हूँ। अरे ये दीवार क्या है? अब
Right. All right. So that was some smart snippets from a show that I did for the Jharkhand War Memorial in Ranchi for the military. And as you saw, we used just about every element of the site so that we got a 180-degree perspective, an immersive experience of sitting in one place and being able to look a full 180-degree from left to right at all the different elements to be able to, really enact or bring alive the story. Another interesting element is looking at lighting art installations which are done outdoors across the world and are now gradually coming into India as well. So here are some examples of installations that have been done in different parts of the world. So this is a part of a festival called the Sydney, Australia. And as you can see, it's a installation set up in a garden, which makes it really interesting and different. This is the Luminale in Frankfurt, using electroluminescent wires and tapes to create forms and structures which are very interestingly geometrical and 3D. Use of shadow projection through stencils to create shadows and interesting perspective on the ground in an area outdoors. Again, use of electroluminescent wires and tapes to create forms and shapes. So these are all luminescent forms. Use of fluorescent lighting or LED fluorescent lighting, and shapes and forms which are luminescent in themselves to be able to create. Some of these are also interactive, and I'll show you an example of something that we did here at the Garden of Five Senses in Delhi. So to talk about these kind of installations, there has been already a start that has been made in New Delhi. This is something that I've witnessed, and there were several designers from across India who participated in this show called the Light First in New Delhi. And at the Italian ambassador's residence, they set up about 15 installations to showcase stuff that could be, shown in an outdoor nice environment. Some of it was site specific. So this is this particular installation is done by Design Matrix. As you can see, they use the trees, gauze, UV light, etc., to create a very interesting perspective of walking and seeing different things. There's a sculpture by Vibhor Sogani, which is again blends in very well into the outdoor environment. This is a site-specific installation where arches were used to create a dynamic effect. By programming, some kind of a movement was created on this particular thing. Can I have the second video that I shared? Can it be run? Just to talk about it, it's a interactive Christmas tree installation that we did with along with a company called Splat Studio, and it was set up at the Garden of Five Senses over Christmas. And here it was a physical tree shape, which 25 foot high, which could interact with the people.
Ho, 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 ho.
Yes, thank you. So that particular thing, as you saw, there were buttons on the floor, and by stepping on different buttons, different routines got started off and shown. One last thing that I would like to talk about is this installation that we lit up in as part of the Jharkhand War Memorial Show, the shrine. A very space-age looking structure in the outdoors, which as per the architect's design was supposed to represent the 5 elements. The 4 hexagonal petals rather, represented 4 different elements, earth, wind, sky and air, earth's water. And in the center, there was the fire. So this is something that we had to light up in an interesting way, which could be fully controlled and lit up in separate ways. And it was a real challenge, because as part of the show, you had to be able to show each petal separately. You had to be able to show different colors on each of the petals without going overboard and using too much lights, and also sustainable, meaning that you had to put in lighting which could be easily repaired should there be a problem. So we did consider putting lighting on the emitter-based lighting on the structure itself, but then decided that a 50-foot high structure would be impossible to maintain by the army. So we went in for ground lighting. As you can see, the structure is really very unusual, and there was also going to be a chance of a lot of the light dissipating into the air. So we came up with a plan which required only 16 lights. 16 spotlights, RGB, in 16 very specific locations, and they managed to do the job. So here are the examples of how it had happened. This is lighting in one color. Then lighting in a mix of colors, as you can see now, 2-tone. Lighting each petal separately, and you notice that there is no spill. If one petal is orange, then it's orange. There is no spill on the other one. Here we use the colors of the 23 Infantry Brigade, which was part of the show. So their red and white colors were created in that. And we also created the tricolor out of this particular thing. So that was an incredible challenge, and an interesting lighting solution that came up, which worked extremely well for the show and easily maintainable, as I said. So that's it for my presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Venuji. You have proved what art installation can fit into the landscape lighting. Great. Now I would request Mr. Pankaj Dharkar to talk about, who is the National Chairman, ASSOCHAM GEM, and the President of Pankaj Dharkar Associates, to talk about the GEM and the certification, what are we doing, and explain us more on that. Thank you, sir.
Amit, can you give me the rights, please? So good evening, everyone. And I think first let me give my personal thanks to Vinit Kumarji Jaiswalji. I think we are really honored, sir, with your presence. And I will not come in way of beautiful presentation coming up from Sharad, Sudhanshu, Bhavesh, and other eminent speakers. But I must thank Mr. Vinu for doing that brilliant start for today's session. I think it was amazing and very, very interesting. And I'm sure many more to come will be completely fully engrossing, and we will be all here till 6 p.m. as scheduled. I'm really glad to note that at this hour, we had once crossed 975 attendees this evening, which is really heartening for our association. Vinitji, I think this is a moment which we are very, very proud of. And this evening, I think this is the first time that any association related to green and sustainability movement has taken lighting so seriously. And that is because after HVAC and plumbing, I think this is a third most important component on building energy. Sir, we started this green and eco-friendly movement called GEM Sustainability Program. And as just to update my delegates that ASSOCHAM is a body since 1920, and it covers 400 chambers, 4.5 lakhs members, and we are working towards creating a conducive environment on India's business and compete globally. Many people ask me why James started. We have GRIA certification, we have IGBC, we have USGBC. So I just answer them that we started this green building movement from 2000 2001. I was part from the beginning in this journey with many senior stalwarts, and we are here not to compete but to complement the good work done by all these organizations, because sir, that currently only 6,500 buildings in these 20 years have gone for green building certification, while only certified buildings footprint is just 2,500. We all know that 70% of India is to be built by 2030, and the gap is going to be enormous if all of us don't come together. So with the 450,000 members, we are going to complement the efforts done by other three societies and bring a big awareness in the country is our vision and mission. The ASSOCHAM is currently headed by Niranjan Hirarandani-ji, who is also a very eminent developer builder from Mumbai. We are supported by Vineet-ji Agrawal-ji as Vice President, and also my past President has been Balkrishna Goenka, who is continuously supporting us, and Deepak Sood-ji, who is our Secretary General. So ASSOCHAM has taken this green initiative to care Mother Earth to complement India's sustainability movement. Our program is very simple, transparent, and easy to understand by any architect or engineering professional. It is completely based on ECBC 2017 and NBC 2016. We are directly promoting both these beautiful books, which are in the treasure for the world, which is complemented by Indian professionals, and we have a lot of respect for this. So our programs are truly Indian, truly promoting ECBC and NBC 2016. The program includes sustainability, energy, water efficiency, more green building, green areas. Indoor air quality, of course, becomes extremely important, specifically post-COVID. Daylighting, fresh air, human comfort. But Vinayji, what is different in this certification program is we are also considering fire and life safety as important program, and we give due credit to it, because we do believe that buildings have to be energy efficient, but they first have to be fire and life safety wise safe. So we have given special credits for this, which is a very important component of our certification, which is unique in the globe. We are also linked this with Fire and Security Index of FSCI, which is also going to be the global first, which addresses the fire and security. And this is a rating system which gets automatically connected with the GEM certification program. The GEM has 5 rating systems, starting from GEM 1 to GEM 5, GEM 1 being the lowest and GEM 5 being the highest. Currently, it is available for housing, urban development, residential, commercial, colleges, universities, factories, hotels, and we are now connecting to warehousing and healthcare facilities. Special classification is coming up. We do believe that it is most affordable system. It addresses fire life safety. It is a great recognition to Indian good buildings. We do believe anything spent on this will give us a payback of less than 3 to 4 years, and we all know that the buildings are created for 50 years and more. So this is a very strong belief that all our certified buildings will give this payback. Vinayji, the unique thing about our certification is monitoring of all certified projects from a command center in Delhi. And this is a unique feature. We do believe that documentation is important, the certification is important, but it is also important to monitor these projects for the total energy consumption, water consumption, and also indoor air quality. And also in case of fire and life safety, we will be able to in future give command information back to the nearest fire station. Sir, currently, whatever buildings are certified, barring few projects, data is not available. And we do believe that young generation, new architects, they all need to innovate and do research. But where is the building data? Building data is missing. So by monitoring these sites, we are going to collect some important data by which a lot of research activity can happen. Maybe lighting, maybe in terms of energy, we'll be able to do many more work if these data are systematically compiled in the country. So we are also saying that even if it is not GEM certified and any other certified buildings, we will be able to do this. And this is a completely cloud-based system we have developed. So putting energy meters at source, water meter at source, and indoor air quality at the meters at strategic places, we will be able to help these buildings and collect and build nation which will be more energy efficient and sustainable in future. We are currently having MOUs with ISHRE, FSAI, IAQA, which are International Society of Indoor Air Quality, various chapters of ASHRE. We did several programs with Smart Habitat Foundation this year, and today's program is happening with ISLE, Indian Society of Lighting Engineers, and we are indeed proud of this association. Both the programs which have happened have crossed 1,000 mark in terms of attendees. So it is a delight to us. We can imagine in a normal course having 1,000 people in a hall is impossible, but today we are delighted with that. And of course, Vinayji, your presence as CPWD head and eminent speakers are definitely responsible for this attendance. And also we are working with GACS, which is Association of Facility Managers, and more than 4,500 facility managers are members of this society. For each certified project, we do issue the certificate and a plant which our owners of these certified buildings are proud to place them at right positions. The GEM certified professional exam is very interesting. It happens on the web. You can give it, and you can give at any time with open book. It's a 90-minute exam for which we also conduct the training programs. Currently, we have certified number of projects which includes pharmaceutical industry like Abbott, cement plant like JK, electrical and electronics giant like Siemens, hotels like for ITC and Hilton, and several other universities. Huge number of programs were carried out in last 1 year. Of course, these are all physical programs which happened for 6 months. We started with Chandigarh chapter installation with Rajasthan, Gujarat, and then on 4th of June we were in UP, which was a great success, followed by West Bengal, where the urban development minister himself, Mr. Farid Hakim, came. And tomorrow we are going to install our chapter in Karnataka, which will be for which the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka himself is coming, with the Minister of State for Railways is joining us and inspiring us with a very dynamic MP Tejasvi from Bangalore. So very eminent personalities are supporting us across the country. Soon we are going to open our Maharashtra and Chhattisgarh chapter, and we are going to be there in 20 states with Tushar Sogani, our architect, helping me, and going beyond the boundaries of India. Also Nepal, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka are on card. Sir, we also did a very interesting program with ISHRE, IMA, FSAI, and we come up with the guidelines post-COVID, because we all know that the projects were stalled. Suddenly there was a lockdown, and this happened globally for the first time, when large project got stalled and they were to restart. So all engineering societies came together with ASSOCHAM, and we wrote these guidelines, and this program was again attended by 3,000 plus people. These documents have gone to 29 state and 6 union territories, and is being well accepted by several collectorate. On 11th July, we did a program, Employability of Post-COVID Era. This is a very important subject for young generation. They are finding it very tough. So we joined hand with AICTE and ISHRE, and this particular program was also very well accepted by students. So a number of programs happened during these 3 months. Our team, dynamic team, is doing extremely good programs every week, 2 to 3 programs. Special programs on landscape were also done through Gujarat chapter, and you can see here that in last 3 months we more than 46,586 registrations happened. More than 25,000 people attended this program, and these were the special program with architects. We are in vision of educating our young generation, the architects, architectural and engineering students. So our chair for this is architect Vijay Garg. Under his leadership, we are going to sign up 100 MOUs. In fact, today only we signed MOU with the institute from Kerala, Pune, and Indore. And we are going ahead with several MOUs. Our mission is to educate our young minds, young architects and engineers, and groom them for sustainability, because if they learn this aspect, I think our future buildings will be more sustainable. So a lot of such programs with students are happening across the country. And this year happens to be the centenary year for ASSOCHAM. We started here with this grand program at Vigyan Bhavan with more than 5,000 attendees, with Prime Minister himself there, with more than 8 cabinet ministers and several ministers of states. And this was a program which could happen. Of course, we are not in this age now with the COVID era, but we were fortunate to have this program beginning. And we are committed to Prime Minister's dream and vision to create a green and environmentally sustainable country. So please join us in this vision and mission. And once again, thank you, sir, for being here, and thank you to all eminent speakers today. I think we are going to have a fantastic evening and going to take pleasant memories of the evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dhaka Saab, for your sharing of the knowledge on GEM and the way you're trying to take up GEM all across India. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Bhavesh Doshi, who loves to be called as KNX tutor, and he's in the mission to train more than 10,000 people by 2025, and is a great lighting designer and an integrator. So I would request him to answer two critical questions. One is the importance of control systems in achieving landscape lighting strategies. And second is, we would like to understand from him through his presentation, future trends in integrated smart control technologies for landscape and outdoor lighting. So over to Bhavesh Doshi ji.
Bhavesh, yeah.
Yeah. So can you see my, yeah, can you see my slides also?
No. So Amit, please give the right to Bhavesh ji. Yes, Bhavesh ji, now please accept the request and then share.
Yeah. Okay.
We can see.
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Shakti ji, for introducing me, and thank you, ASSOCHAM, for giving me this opportunity. So good evening to everyone. After some wonderful presentations from the other eminent speaker, let us look at how we can make outdoor lighting more energy efficient. Right? So research in lighting and its positive and negative effect on humans and environment is driving development of newer lighting source. So to achieve results, complex controls need to be designed and implemented. So let us see why control systems has become important. So as you can see, cities account for 70% of energy consumption, and lighting consumes 20% of the energy. So lighting consumes major chunk of energy, and this has become a contentious issue globally. So there are positive and negative effects of lighting, which is outside the scope of this session. But yes, it is absolute no-brainer that we need control systems. It is imperative to save energy, reduce light pollution, create sustainable sites, and provide safety and comfort to occupants. So typically we would have residential areas, urban areas, streets, and various public spaces in the city. Whether it is your own house or commercial space or public spaces, controls is an advanced state of usability. So controls can elevate the beauty, safety, security, and the emotion associated with those sites. So the mood and emotion of the environment shifts with the intensity and brightness of lights. So whether it is an event shared outdoors with family or friends, or festive time of year such as Diwali, Christmas, lights play an important role in perspectives of people's mind. So why lighting controls? So first of all, yes, to save energy. So lighting controls ensures that light is used only when it is needed and in quantity needed, generating energy cost savings that increase profitability. As standards and codes, the latest commercial buildings, energy codes, and standards across countries globally now require automatic lighting control strategies in virtually every lighting applications, including exterior and building structure general lighting. So security and safety, by maintaining a majority of lighting at lower light and power level during after hours, the presence of people is made more detectable as luminaires in occupied areas rise to full output, due to sensors being deployed there. So data collection and analysis, yes, some solutions or probably all the solutions monitor controlled lighting, providing information useful for energy analysis and maintenance. This also adds to lower life cycle cost as well. Reduce light pollution is a major subject and topic being discussed these days. Yes, this helps in creating sustainable sites. So there are many strategies and functions defined in various building codes and standards for energy efficiency. New demands will be ever increasing as effective strategies evolve. So if you look at all the certifications we are looking at, there are minimum defined strategies for effective lighting and energy saving. So let us look at some of the functionalities which can be implemented and which helps in achieving efficiency and energy saving. So astronomical time clock, the dusk and dawn based lighting by giving GPS location of the space or a project or a site. We can offset the sunrise and sunset timings based on locations, based on seasons during the whole year. Then we have timer controls and scheduling. The system can be programmed to trigger any scene and or switch or dim lights at a particular time of the day, and we can schedule it for the whole year. And we have very important, which is adaptive lighting strategy, where we use various kind of sensors, occupancy sensors, which would be like PIR sensors, microwave sensors, all different kind of sensors. So lights are basically switched when there is presence or a space is occupied. So this amounts to quite a bit of energy saving, and it's very cost effective to implement. Because then photosensors based lighting, which is being used, but we can use it more effectively now by using various sensors like lux sensors, photosensors, or in luminaire sensor. You get luminaires now with the sensors inbuilt. Implementing daylighting strategies or maintaining particular lux levels and luminance at a given set of time. Then of course dynamic lighting, everybody knows multicolor facade lighting, color changing lights. Now we have interactive facades, we have LED digital signage which interacts with people, and which also some of those pixel LED screens or LED lights, they also work as illuminant lights also. And of course, can create event-based or need-based scenarios and ambiences. Like Mr. Vinit Kumar Jaiswal had mentioned, that we have our heritage buildings, our parliament, the sign of largest democracy, being lit up with color changing lights here. Then of course we have something which is very not much talked about, is seasonal operation of lighting, where to reduce the negative effect of light, for example, to mitigate bad effects of light on, say, animals and birds. So in some national parks, these strategies are implemented. For example, during migration of a nocturnal bird which rely on darkness, lights are switched off for a few days or months at a particular given time. So this is something which is also very important. Then of course there is a good strategy which is part night dimming. very limit. Lights are dimmed to certain level, say 50% if it cannot be switched off at around 10 p.m. and going towards midnight, it gets dimmed to 25% till dawn, and then it gets switched off. So this would probably give around 20% in light saving rather than keeping lights on for all the time and creating light pollution. So possibilities are limitless. Control systems implemented well would certainly help in realizing effective lighting design strategies and create sustainability as well. So let us look at future trends and systems, integrated outdoor lighting. So what is driving this? Of course, uh, there are different light sources which are being invented, which are being researched every day, which drives different kind of control systems. But yes, there are things like smart cities where we want to integrate everything, all functionalities, to create efficient life, or I would say efficient system in the city. So we already saw that okay, lighting network uses adaptive lighting, security lighting, like I explained, where you provide lighting where to reduce crime or give a proper lighting in the pathways where people movement, or at the high risk area you have proper lighting available or lighting required for surveillance purpose. So security lighting, then you'll have energy conservation, which is the prime goal of actually creating a smart city while like collecting data and all. But there are some other interesting things which are also happening now worldwide, where light poles or street light poles or the luminaires or outdoor bollards can be integrated with air quality reporting. So there could be sensors which are mounted on the poles itself. And cameras, of course, is used for surveillance, which can be from the same light. So what I'm trying to make understand is light being location based. So I mean, we can always pinpoint location of a light. Can be used for various different purposes, and this could generate revenue for municipalities across the cities. Can have parking availability sensors where, especially in the parking structures, parking areas, you can have parking sensors there. Interactive LCD bollards where poles can be used for different kind of advertising or showcasing different information like city maps for tourists, and different kind of applications can be there and can be used as advertising revenue from the advertising also. Uh, Cell towers, yes, we know. I don't know if there is any regulation or not, but we have seen many lamp posts being used. Cell towers have been installed on the light post also. Magnetometer is one another application which will be very good for traffic control, where we could actually monitor the speed by putting a small magnetometer in the lamp post and send all the information centrally along with cameras who can capture photos which are already being done. And another very interesting thing is drone charging stations. So there are some applications which are coming where on the street light, on the post, you would have chargers, and you can actually park a drone above the street lights. And this can be very, very useful in case of emergencies or any services which has to be provided by municipality or any other services. So that is something which is also very, very interesting topic. So data analysis is something which we can gather through using all this. An application uses available sensor data to provide real-world actionable data, which we can use and answer some of the questions like uh, whereas increased lighting levels reduce crimes, whereas additional lighting levels increased retail sales, maybe urban streets, right? Whereas increased lighting levels have increased property values, the real estate values by providing different kind of lighting strategies. So this is something, but this is something which we have to think in manner. And what are the control systems or different technologies which are available now? Definitely the wired technology is already there, but it comes with its own limitation. But yes, there are different technologies which are coming across the world, and everybody is trying to see which is the best one, defined that way. But you have different due to Zigbee, Thread, you have Phoenix, IoT, LoWPAN, Sambi, LoRa, NB-IoT, LTE. So these are all in this space. All of them have their limitations. All of them have their own this. But yes, but most of the time you'll see smart drivers which will be installed, and they become ubiquitous now. And they simplify the whole complex control and light output. So there are intelligent devices and capability of sending and receiving data directly on the network. These networks have distributed intelligence. So and this kind of systems probably would also remove the constraints of not installing lighting control systems. Like, everybody asks for quick ROI, return on investment, life cycle cost, upgradability, or the whole energy consumptions or energy saving. So all these will probably, this kind of technologies are going to solve these problems because they're becoming increasingly cheap to install. I would say I'm using word cheap, which is not a right word, but compared to what we are seeing over these years, I think it is very, very affordable, and this can be installed. So that is it from my side. These are my contact details. I tried my best to cover in time. Thank you all.
Thank you very much for sharing all this. Now I would request Sudeshna ma'am. I believe many people know her while this call is going on. Many of her people who have been part of her lighting academy, which she created, the first of its kind, and one of the lighting companies are also listening to her. So she's an electrical engineer with masters in this discipline of lighting applications, and she's an expert in lighting is what I can say about. So I would request her to answer two pertinent questions which are very critical, which many people want to understand from an expert like her. In the view of the need of lighting, the control light, which is what this presentation of Bhavesh also spoke about, the light spill, the light tree pass, glare. There's a change in design techniques to balance visual and safety requirements. So how are lighting designers tackling the same issue? That's one. And ma'am, we have another question for you, which is another aspect which people want to understand from you. We would be all keen to know if there is any initiative which the associations like ISLE, or you have been part of many standards committee, are driving to encourage sustainable city lighting master planning. So because there are places which is there's too much of light, or there is underlit areas. So is there any standard coming on those directions? So these two questions, if you can take up and explain, enlighten everybody on these two aspects.
Thanks, Shakti, for the kind introduction. Let me start with the second part. Unfortunately, I don't think so. There are any specific standards on lighting master plan. But hearing everyone speaking for the last hour or so, I think the need of the hour is having lighting master plans for the city. So far, in my last 30 years as a lighting design person or a lighting application person across various, I've worked in Asia, I've worked in India extensively. 50% of my career has been, working in and out of India. Cities which have really harnessed the potential of lighting in making what we call as sustainable, livable cities are the cities who worked on master plan. Most of us currently try to light up buildings in innovative ways. Initially when I started my career, we lit up building surfaces, or we built up, which were the architectural features of the building, to something which is very novel now, where we create light art installation, extremely a very different shift in terms of lighting applications. But to me, when I look at it, these becomes all singular lighting installation. I think associations like this, I was very interested, and that's one of the reason I quickly agreed when the ISLE approached me whether I would be part of this panel or not, is associations like ASSOCHAM, ISLE and large users like CPWD and other organizations can come in together and actually start initiating lighting master planning. Because even in India, each city is very different, right? I mean, Kolkata. Each city has its own characteristics. So if we need to light up the buildings, light up the landscape, it has to be very representative of the city as well. There are a lot of challenges in this. If you see, I do see there are sometimes conflicts which are happening. We have standards in sustainability. There are standards which are there regulating light pollution, light spill in terms of more energy efficiency. It's something what we did for indoor as well, glare control vis-a-vis visibility. While we try to do that, we have to remember that we are lighting up any building or any city. It is for the residents. Do they feel safe? Do they feel cheerful? Do they feel vibrant in that environment? So if we try to be very, very specific about, how do I control the light pollution, maybe we will compromise something about the light visibility. So the challenges in the lighting designer and the lighting design techniques which we have to evolve now, we have to continuously be very, very innovative in seeing how we balance both this part of controlling light pollution and ensuring that there is enough visibility and security. I was in a hotel once where I saw that the entire lighting was, almost at the ground level. As a result, when you're walking in the pathway, you cannot see anybody's face. There was no semi-cylindrical illuminance, which gave a very, very ghostly feeling and not a very secured feeling. But it met all the standards of light spill and it met all the standards of energy, but did not deliver the basic requirement of, having a completely well lit environment, where you feel safe and secure. In my personal view, and having spent considerable time, I mean, my whole life has been in lighting, I think once we start really doing lighting master planning, we will be able to address this issue. Then we can lay down standards that which building should be lit in which way, which type of parks, which type of, public areas, what could be the lighting concept. It's not right making lighting design, but setting guidelines so that there is a cohesiveness in the entire lighting scenario. Otherwise, you will have very nicely lit buildings all along the city, but you will lack cohesion in, depicting a culture of that city, which you would see very nicely done if you visit Lyon, you visit Amsterdam. Each city speaks, the history of that city gets very well reflected in the way the lighting master plan and the lighting concept has been done. So this is my viewpoint. Just to sum up, no, there is no standards on lighting master plan, but I think this is the right time to start working. Different cities, different association need to start on it, which will address your first question on how do we do balancing between energy efficiency, light pollution, visibility, and creating a good ambience.
Thank you, Sureshna. You answered it perfectly well, and you have given a task for ASSOCHAM and ISLE as well in your message. This can be taken. Lighting master planning activity can be taken up.
I think you have a lot of experts in this panel itself, from light artists to lighting control experts to manufacturers. I think, and also of course CPWD and ASSOCHAM. I mean, nothing can be more opportune to start this or initiate this activity.
That's what I'm saying. You've given us a task now. With this message coming out, clearly we have a actionable item in our desk now. Very clearly. So Neeraj has also to act on this. So we'll take this as an action item. Now I would request, and thanks very much for sharing this, Sureshna. I would request Abhijit Salunke, who is principal lighting artist at Balono Design, Lighting Design. And he has created many created many design structures and is also part of ISLE. So my question to Mr. Abhijit is, why is lighting design important in space, and how does one perceive the emotions and moods, different moods, through the lighting? So maybe you can take through your presentation, or you can talk through this on this, maybe, because we are all having short of time now. So maybe 8 minutes each of the speaker now on. Thank you.
Unmute yourself, sir. Abhijit ji.
Abhijit, your audio is missing.
Unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's
Perfect.
okay.
Yes.
Do you see the presentation?
Yes. Yes.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes,
So
we can see it.
basically, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Shakti ji. So we'll just go short run to this. So this presentation is basically in two parts. One is basically, as an artist, I'm talking about basically what happens before you go into the project. So it is not light, no light fittings, no controls, no nothing, but basically an emotional thing. So, and the space. And the second part is a project, how we relate this thing to you. So normally we are in an ecosystem. So what is this ecosystem? So first, the basic criteria is we require a space where we experience different things. So once we have a space, the second thing we require to have experiences, vision. Now, the vision cannot be complete without light. Now you have a space, there are a lot of activities, there are humans, then you have vision, there is light. Light is being acting upon, so you see things, you perceive things. So now what it leads to? So it leads to a very important factor, which we call as emotions. Now emotions is the crux of any activity you do, art or design. And this is a very important part of human psychological aspect. Now what does light do? So basically lighting design is about studying a relationship between people and space and how light interacts with them. So in light, basically, what I say is basically when you do lighting, basically you see things, and when you do illumination, you see things, and when you do lighting, you perceive things. So there is a subtle difference in the engineering aspect and the artistic approach to it. So what does light do? So light first creates depth. It reveals the texture and color of a surface. It shows the form, the architectural form, you can say. It creates scale. Lighting separates functions. Now this is a big complex, and here you can see there is an entrance, there is a outdoor entrance area, there's a foyer, recreational area, entertainment lawn, swimming pool. Just having lighting, you have demarcated different areas. So as an artist, what I do, basically what I'm trying to do is when I visit a site or when I do things, I am expressing myself, like what are the honest moments at that time, and then I convert it into a lighting plan. So this is very important, like what I express as an artist. And when I express something, it is expressed in moods. So normally, if you are aware, we have basically what we call it now rasas, like there is Shungar ras, Rudra ras, Hasya ras, Karuna ras, Vibhuti ras, and every ras has got a sentiment to it. Like for example, if I take a ras like Abhuda ras, then it has got a sentiment called wonderment. And what is the bhav of it? It is Ashwarya bhav. And what is the state of mind? It is amazement. So whatever emotions we come across, they are all defined or confined into this now ras. So, but now each ras, like if I take a mood like Abhuda, that is amazement, again it has got fine layers, and that you have to work out when you define like a lighting scape for a space. So for example, there are different moods which you can create for a site. Something can be spiritually, something can be like you say, this space is cozy. like something can be romantic, like a cafe. Bewildered, like something like a jungle cottage house. Joyous, calm, or a resort which can be mystic, like what I'm showing you. So we need to understand, like, go deep and understand, like, what are we going to put, what are we going to feel, make the audience feel when they come in the space. That is a very important criteria of any design. Now, for example, the space we did, like, what I found is this was more of a haunting. Now, when I say moods, you don't do it actually haunting, but there's a fine nuance. It has to have that feel to it. Or this township project we did, we called it magical, like something like a Harry Potter movie. So people enjoy the nights also. Now we'll come to our project Mallar Machi. So whatever we have discussed, you can find the relevant into it. Now this is a site 50 kilometers from Pune, and this is in the Western Ghats, so eco-sensitive area, and it's a mountain resort. So now this site is blessed with nature, and this, as I said, this in Sahyadris. There were two criteria of the owners of starting this resort. The first was to have adventure during the daytime, and at the night time, he wanted the occupants to get lost into that mystic ambience. So again, you have to understand, like, what is the criteria for what you have to do lighting. The purpose is very important. Now, when it is such a sensitive site, lighting plays a very important role, and that important role is it has to be very less. Now, factors to be considered, like natural factors. It was a heavy rain zone, good soil area. So what happens? There's a good plantation, different colors of green, you can see it. So now if you see, this is a foreground, midground, and the background, and in this resort is there. So as a lighting designer, you have to understand, like, what is the background you are, what is the topography your space is, and then you decide how you can create that ambience. It's a hilly area, as I told, where there was hill at the background and a large water body on the other side, and the rooms were built to get a glimpse of both. So this was the plan, basically. If you see, this was a hill, this were the landscape area, this were the water bodies, again a landscape. This were the main cottages, and here you find the lake. So this was the view from where people got the lake. This was the mountain, and this was the lake. Now, one very important thing about this projects which you may come across, mountains or forests, is that lighting has, it should not be destructive, because if there is some mistake, there is some glare, you just spoil the atmosphere. So you have to be very, very careful in terms of this. Now, there were natural mounds, boulders, banyan trees, mango trees, which they had been preserved, and that was part of the natural landscape, if you see. And the resort was built along it. Now, what were the architectural factors to be considered? Now, this was built in a vernacular style, that is a local style of building. The architecture was in warm shades, so that it hides, camouflages with the natural landscape in summer, whereas in the rainy and the winter season, it got contrasted. So again, if you see now, this is the summertime, the resort is fully camouflaged. And now this is post-rainy season. Now the warmth of the resort contrasts with the greenery of the landscape. So this is again an important factor when you do lighting. You have to consider the seasons, what effects happen, not only to the landscape, but to the structure, and what you see as the background of the structure. Now, they added some stone sculptures to create scale and to create a mystic atmosphere. Now, what was the lighting brief? Now, when you are working with the architect, there are some briefs which you need to understand and integrate, like customized luminaires in the exterior to get to the character of the resort, use reflective lighting, maximize customized luminaires for inside also to look part of the interiors, and exterior lighting where LEDs and CFLs were used inside. The purpose of CFLs inside was, LEDs are very sharp focus, so we wanted a simple diffuse lighting, and the control gears for LEDs were far from the source, because there were very waterlogging problems, and every control gear and every lamp was coded, so that because the site was far, so if there is any problem, anybody has to just tell the code and that thing would be repaired. Now, what is the essence of the story? Now, this is what we call the story. The story is very important. You do everything to experience the enigma and enchanting, the mysticness. So your story is very important in any project. Now finally, like when the day slips into night, so this is the daytime, this is the evening, let's say outside. Now what happens at the resort? This is the entrance, this is the night time. This is the pool area facing the cottages. This is a pathway which connects all the cottages. This is the deck pool area where you see the outdoors. Now if you see here, you are not disturbing the view of the lake or the sky, and you create a background light sculpture. So this is the finer things like what you want to make people see and how do you want them to relax. This is the outdoor area of every cottage. Again, if I want to sit here, I create a pool of intimacy, and there is no glare, no nothing. I can see outside, and I'm, in a very private zone. This is the surrounding pool area. These are the sculptures we were talking. It's not simple thing. Daylight, the sculpture is flat, but by lighting you create a 3D effect. This were the cottages. We created a light which was functional, and plus it was very attractive that people find it soothing. Now here if you see the sculpture, just by mounting some light you create depth and you balance it with some other structure. This was the entrance area. Because the resort was mystic, you had to create the entrance, you have to create the atmosphere at the start. So you see the light on the occupants, the ceiling, everything. So it had to be that mystic feel. This is the restaurant area. If you see that amount of light has a bit increased because you're serving food, and the warm color should, make your appetite grow for that food. And there were customized fittings made as per the customized artifacts. This is the interiors. Here you can control the lights or reduce the light as per requirements. Some are diffuse, some are customized. Yeah, this is this. This was actually an award-winning project. Thank you.
Thanks, Abhijit. Really much more than award-winning. It has mesmerized us. Beautiful job done. And you've shown how lighting is so critical to the ambience and what all impact it can create. Now I would request Mr. Sharad Mahindra to join in, and he's the founder of AI Nova Lighting India. Mr. Mahindra is, I would request you to answer two critical questions which everyone is looking forward for. Why do you think the landscape lighting is related to our environment? And how do you correlate it to the human evolution process? So this is the whole journey cycle you have to take us through. Then second question for you is, how is designed landscape lighting helpful in enhancing the viewing experience, which is what everybody has been talking since through, and maybe I have explained through the examples. So over to you, Mr. Mahindra. Sharadji.
Thank you, Satyanarayana. I'm thankful to, and I've been benefited by the valuable presentations we will be able of control in planning, on artistic design, on dynamic.
It seems your voice is breaking. Neerajji, if you can help Sharadji, because it seems his voice.
I would suggest switch off your video. Switch off your video, Sharadji.
Sharadji, if you can switch off your video, your audio will come right.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. Yeah. I hope I'm not on. Fine. So, the why I present there is the same. Hello. Can you hear me? Okay. Was trying to say was that I had to go through the exercise lighting and on artistic lighting and on the city planning and am I audible? Now, we represent the last mile element of lighting is the product manufacturer. Now, from the in making India the drive that we talking about, our PM has been talking about. Well, we have been this Making India program since almost 5 years. We've been making products indigenously for landscape and architecture lighting. And we have developed over 750 products in landscape lighting. I would like you to go through a little presentation. We also work on what really in product manufacturing, but we work on application engineering, and application engineering has been our forte. So I'd like to take you through a little application. Abhijit, how do I go into the video into my presentation? Hello?
Hello. Yes, Amit, please give the right to Sharad ji.
Yeah.
Right to Sharad ji.
Yeah.
Sharad ji, you are the presenter now.
Okay. I'm able to get this fuse out. Okay, now. If you can see my screen. Now, we are certified in the company, large base in Hyderabad and NCR. We manufacture products of architectural and landscape lighting, maybe outdoor, maybe architectural lighting products. And with all the ingredients in manufacturing for a period of I'm a life fellow of the Indian Society of Lighting Engineers, and we believe that lighting is physical and art, is science, and the third among them, which is the technique which intertwines both art and science together. So without which architecture and landscape lighting cannot come through. We have certain beliefs. We believe it is necessary to have visiting ambience, to create visual depth, which is very important in particular in landscape lighting. Unless good depth is available, the landscape lighting doesn't come through. It has to be rhythmic in the design, and it should appear as a composition rather than it has to appear as a composition. When it is lighting, landscape lighting is also a science. The selection is important, sources are important, appropriate voltage is very important, optimal angles, angle selection is very important, energy conservation, we have been talking about the whole afternoon in energy conservation, controls and conserving energy. New allocations are taken marked for the sake of the effects, lighting effects that we are looking for, and minimum, of course, all designers will do that. So, now, we go by the technique of identifying viewports, which are very, very important vantage points from where you are going to see the landscape, elements, salient features, relative positions, relative dimensions of the elements that we are going to illuminate, the CCT, the color temperature of the lamps that we are going to use for different applications, the strength of the element to decide the beam size, beam angles, the strength and presence of elements. Now, before we go forward, we also usually go through a process called virtual integration, the virtual reality simulation techniques. So I'm going through a very small few seconds presentation on virtual reality. Because we are self-running by the past, it will take more than a few seconds. They do it so one back to back. The perspective of what we're talking about, this is virtual reality created before the execution, so we know what we expect and the client is confident what the client would get eventually. And then it's a responsibility that we will deliver this. So our products, because let's not forget that we are product manufacturers, so every day we have to deliver. That was the landscape. This is an architectural lighting project. The Alphabet Mall in Amritsar, quite some time ago, where we did this architectural lighting. I will just let it go through for a while. The most important aspect in architectural lighting is the building as such needs to allow to have salient features, very, very salient features come out, and to stand out as an iconic element of the environment of that particular place. So it's important to have those salient points very implemented in a particular way. That's how we try to do this with going to realization. I'm demanding, ladies and gentlemen, that we are lighting the also so that we are able to deliver products for the application. And we are supposed to be able to lighting designers, architects, consultants. We are indebted to several lighting consultants and landscape designers and architects for their valuable support that we received over a period of time in developing new and improved products. So I go through this presentation of landscape lighting features. Now, this is what we do with visual destination. What we do is we light up an element which is far behind. You see, for what happens in the nighttime viewing is that if we light up the objects here, we are visible, but then the depth is not visible. So depth is not visible. So we light up objects far behind. This was a white wall lit up far behind. There is no lighting. All the plants, all the trees standing silhouette with a feeling of a large depth behind it. Well, even the same project where some lighting is done to these fronts and bombs right in front, so that it gives out a number of views. Now, these are viewports, mind you. We look at the viewports. We look at the viewports where the view would happen, and then we will decide on what kind of lighting would happen to a element. This another story. This is diffuse lighting happening below the heavens, and first of all, most important thing in the whole lighting, landscape lighting particularly, is that landscape that the luminous source needs to be well camouflaged. The moments that is visible, the very effective landscape lighting is called. So please appreciate that all this is ensured that the lighting is completely camouflaged from view. This is another use of the same result, where you get a feeling of the sailing of light on the top of the edge. This is accent lighting, sharp beam, very sharp beam. Now the color temperature is selected on the basis of the kind of the object we are trying to light up. This is a palm, very green, very dull green, requires bright light. If it was warm light, it would have actually come out quite early and quite this shall we say, not good to look at. But these are the combination of white and warm lights. Sorry, this is sharp accent, sharp blue, but embedded in the ground, warm light, very, very warm light, lighting up this particular field, which is actually a sparse field throughout the year. It does not have much foliage. It's lined out almost in this particular fashion that you see today. And it would have foliage, where perhaps the temperature might have been very different. This is almost turning towards amber, not even warm, but very, very warm. This is a Chamba cluster where we double lighting from within the cluster. So again, source is not visible, but what you see is an interesting element of the inside of the foliage to dark, and the external area is dark, so that the payoff dark and payoff light and its own darkness brings out a story, sort of a good frame view. Symmetrical fan palms with very simple, very low leverage, simple there been lights which bring out the character of these pumps. And you also notice a little pump here which gives out its reflections. This is what we call mood lighting. It's a concept based on the light of the foliage from the olive tree, and then the light would reflect back onto the floor and create almost a music kind of an effect. We have some palms lit up. Now, in palms, there is one thing very simple. The seventh is very important. Is that we need to light up the palms symmetrically. They are symmetrical objects. We need to light them up completely. We cannot selectively light up palms. The effect would be lost completely. So what we've done is that we built up all the palms together. All the palms, maybe all the palms together. So the foliage actually is what brings the character out. So the trunks are very symmetrical. They have no other character other than being simple. And so the foliage, so there's foliage on top, that goes out in case of palm growth. So there are individual palms, then we lit up. We come into further slides where individual palms are lit up separately. There's a foundation that we built. It's again a banner, a very large banner tree, almost 120 years old. Lit up its lighting interior within the foliage, not about branches, lighting the foliage, ensuring that there is no damage to the tree. That's an important element. There should be no damage to the tree. The light side is not affected much. So there is no, you will notice there is not really much of a stream of light. Very, very easy. If you don't, the trunks are lit up with warm and color lighting, which gives a feel of the complete tree as such. It would not have been complete without the trunks being lit up. There's another few examples. Yeah. Does somebody like to say something? Few examples, few lighting examples. I will come to the product part of the beginning of my presentation, but before that is listening to the application engineering for the manufacturer. We believe is more important. The designer to design. Yeah.
Suraji, excuse me. Suraji, excuse me. Suraji, yeah, sir. Actually, there are lots of disturbance in the audio. So, if you please allow us, can we move to the next part? Yeah, please. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Actually, the audio is not that clear. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I understand. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharad ji and Neeraj ji. Now I believe we are coming to the end of the session. I would once again like to thank Vineet Kumar Jaiswal ji for giving us the honor of being part of the panel as the chief guest and inaugurating this session. And I believe this knowledge sharing by all eminent personalities, be the designers, be the artists and the craftsmen in the trade, for creating light as a art and science and showcasing of those solutions has been valuable for all the people who have been part of the call. And then I would request Neeraj ji to say a word of thanks, or if something he wants to address.
Yeah.
I believe we have moved ahead on the time. Sorry that we have short the timelines. I believe we had to close at 5:30. Now we are close to 5:40 right now.
Thank you so much, Shakti ji. So I think it is almost under control. 5:30 to 5:40 is not that we exceeded so far. So thank you so much, Shri Vineet Kumar Jaiswal ji, for sparing your time for us on this working day, on this busy day. I know you have lots of responsibilities to take care of the entire activities of CPWD. So you spare the time for us for this program on such a short notice. This is really, really, we all are very much thankful to you. On behalf of ASSOCHAM, I am so much thankful to you, sir. Thank you all the eminent speakers, Sudeshna ji, Abhijit ji, Vinu ji, Shakti ji, Darkar Saab, all the speakers. Thank you so much. Before we end to this, I would like to announce our next programs. Amit, can you please share the PPT? Yeah. So as we told that we have discussed about lighting, about architecture and others. Now our next webinar is on the annual pump performance test for fire pumps. This webinar we are going with the support of GACS, ISLE and FSCI. Next we have our webinar on 5th of August at 3 p.m. on Smart Cities Ideas 2025. We are doing this webinar with the support of Smart Habitat Foundation, FSCI and other organizations. And also we have a training on GEM certified professionals again on 8th of August. So this training is for the architects and engineers. So those who are attending the program, all engineers and architects are requested to attend this webinar. This webinar is absolutely free. This is the training on GEM certified green building, GEM green building certification program. So this training is free. So please join us. We will share the link of all these programs with you. And also ASSOCHAM conducts the GEM National Engineering Olympiad also for the engineering and architectural students and professionals. So we will share the details of all these 4 programs with all of you, all the attendees, all the speakers. And I would request all of you to please join these programs. And we are thankful to all of you for your continuous support to ASSOCHAM and for these programs. Thank you, all the eminent speakers. Thank you so much. Now we officially close the program. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
What are you?